So this is a quick description of the new features in VEDA front-end version 4.4.1, which was released on January 22nd, 2014. This video is not comprehensive at all. This is only some of the features that have minute details, or there is some background that I would like to cover. And a more comprehensive list is in the version history on the forum. Now, there are two very big changes, very big enhancements, which are at side projects, being attached models, where you can attach a number of different existing models to be run as a single model, and the facility to create a model from the energy balance. Now, both these have documentation and videos that are independent. So I just want to look at four smaller things. First is that VEDA frontend now gives you information about unsupported tags. So if you have used a tag in a place where it is not supported, then the sync log reflects that. So for example, in this model, I have planted two tags which are like that. So if you look at the import errors, then you see TFMONS parameter, I mean that's the tag, value ignored. This is not a valid tag, it's probably misspelled, which is correct. And TFMINS tag invalid in BY. So this was found in base year template, and it also tells you where it is allowed. So it tells you that what you have put somewhere is not valid, but instead you can put it in the following data components. So BY transformation, subwest transformation, sys settings, regular scenario, trade scenario. And if you double click the Excel icon, then you are taken exactly to the place where the tag was found. So as you can see, this is a VT reg, so this is a base year template. And the TFMINs and TFMONs are definitely not allowed here, so I'll just delete them. Okay, so that was one. Now, the second feature that I want to show is about comparing two different instances of a model, or even two different versions of VEDA frontend for that matter. I'm sure Auntie has made plentiful use of this. Uh, so, so basically, if you choose to create DD only, then apart from creating the DD files, it creates something else now, which is a very small GDX file, which is a full input data snapshot. So as you know, you can also go to the work folder by clicking this label. So you see, now I'm looking for the GDX file, it's probably in gam save. Yeah, so in the gam save folder, a very small GDX file is created, which has all the input data that has been specified in the model. Now, what you can do with this GDX file is that you can create a GDX file. I mean, you can create two GDX files for the versions that you want to compare. And then you can use the GAMS utility GDX diff to do a full and a very efficient comparison between these two files. So this can even be used for your ongoing model documentation, because you can create one such file every week or so, and then it can maintain a full history of how the definitions have evolved. Okay, so that was number two. Now, number three is dummy variables for user constraints. Now, VEDA frontend has always had the facility to create dummy imports for commodities. But as I started working with newer models, I have found problems with user constraints, and sometimes they were not consistent and they were resulting in infeasibilities again, which were hard to debug. So I created this feature where you can, where I basically create a positive and a negative dummy variable for each user constraint. And so basically, the user constraints no longer result in any infeasibilities. So if you go to user options and import settings, then you have this variables for UCs, create dummy variables for UCs. Now if I turn this option on, and now I will import this scenario which has UCs, then I will see extra UC IRE variables in each user constraint, which will make sure that the model doesn't go infeasible because of user constraints. Okay, so the model has synchronized, and now we can go to the browser, and if I select this scenario which just imported. Okay, now you see this UC is UCAF DTPS and UCIRE. These are the dummy variables. As you can see, IMP energy Z. So the same IMP energy Z which is used for dummy commodities is used for this, and it produces these commodities which are the UC name and a minus sign for the negative one and an underscore for the positive one. So these variables are inserted in each UC with its own name. So basically it ensures feasibility, and just like the commodities that are dummy imported tell you which commodities are short, the UC commodities which are imported will tell you which UCs are creating problems in your run. Okay, so that was number 3. Now the last point I want to show you is something called model stats. Now this gives you a count of the elements and data values in your model. Well, this is not very interesting here because this is a demo model. So let's go to something which is more. So let's go to a model which has some more stuff. And the idea there is to just see which scenario is creating what amount of information. Because in front end the specification can be really small sometimes, and you can end up with a very large number of records without knowing. So model stats here. Okay, so now let's see, I'm interested in finding out which scenario has uh, the largest number of data values. Okay, so that's how I can see. I see the number of records that are coming from each scenario. And similarly, I can find the number of data values by region, but as expected, they are quite similar. And the other thing is that you can actually also look at data right from here. So if I want to see which are these 633 records, if I double click, then I go to the browser and exactly with those 636 records. Okay, so that was model stats. And that's it for now. Thanks.